In this video, you'll discover how coaches and consultants are attracting dream clients into their business with 15 minutes solo podcasts.
So in this video, you'll discover why social media is quietly becoming the worst place for coaches to get clients,
why dream clients can't find you, and the under the radar channel that puts you directly in their path.
And finally, the little known positioning that makes you the obvious choice in your niche without going viral, dancing on camera, or posting every day.
Hello, my name is Anthony Winery.
I'm Ty Gaucher.
And during the last 3 years, we've generated over $1 million with our coaching business. Now, this is a brand new channel that we're launching, and it's specifically for online coaches, consultants, and experts who want a marketing channel that doesn't depend on social media.
You're probably in a spot where you want more dream clients coming to you, warmed up, pre-sold, and ready to buy.
And the idea of scaling your business off the back of paid advertisements or cold traffic simply makes your skin crawl.
And some part of you, deep down, even if you've been pushing it down, knows there has to be a better way of building real authority and demonstrating your deep expertise than social media.
But look, before that, you might be wondering who the hell is Anthony Teig and what the hell could they know about building authority, building niche fame, building an audience, and generating clients through podcasts that doesn't require you constantly posting on social media. So look, me and Teig actually grew up in a little small town known as Kings Lynn in the UK, and you could probably tell by the thick British accent. There's me and Teig at a party back when we were, how old were we?
We would have been like 15.
15, damn, okay.
Underage drinking, trying to be cool.
We'll try to ignore that for now.
Now, we started our business after that phase, thankfully, 6 years ago, to two young, hungry, incredibly naive university or college students. This was us here at university just when we got started.
And of course, this is Teig teaching me how to play the guitar. So Teig was studying master's first year, but decided to switch over to music, which is something that he's majorly passionate about. Meanwhile, I was stuck doing sports science for 3 years, and in my final year, I'll be honest, I was down, depressed, and I felt completely lost because I was spending so much time working hard on a degree I was confident I was never going to use. I knew I wanted to build a business, and we knew we wanted to make money online and travel the world, but we didn't really know how. And it wasn't until I got on my knees one evening, it was actually during COVID, and I prayed to God, asking him for directions of like, what should we do next? How can we actually build this business? Because I'm clear that the path I'm currently on isn't the one. And I remember sitting down, actually watching a law of attraction video. The next advertisement that came up was an ad saying, hey, do you want to make money online? And of course I was like, hell yes, I want to make money online. And I think at that point, I watched the webinar, went through a funnel, was completely sold, and was blown away by this business model. The next morning I woke up, rang Teig, and told him, dude, you need to watch this webinar straight away.
And the same thing happened. I watched it, I was sold, we made our first ever investment, a huge investment at the time for us, and joined our first online program and got started making money online. Now, the business model for this course that we bought was very simple. Find demand for book topics on Amazon that had high demand but low competition, make a book, get reviews on the book, and print cash.
And the niche we decided to go into was actually podcasting. At that time, during COVID, podcasts were blowing up. So it's just perfect timing, and we dove straight in. The first book that we published was this one right here called Every Podcaster's Biggest Hurdle.
And you wouldn't believe it, but that is published by us, even though the name says Daniel Larson. We chose a pen name.
Now, the title of the book was, of course, Every Podcaster's Biggest Hurdles, which is funny because that was probably our biggest hurdle when we started our publishing business. We launched this book and it didn't make any sales. For me and Teig, we were devastated. We had gone through a process and invested so much time, effort, money, and energy to launch this book that went nowhere.
Thankfully, we launched a second book at the same time, which went on a very different path and is now one of the best-selling podcasting books of all time. It was called Podcasting Made Simple. It was all about launching a successful podcast. And this really was the catalyst for everything that was to come. It went on to sell tens of thousands of copies and became the magnet for many, many business owners with podcasts to start reaching out to us and asking us to help grow, market, and monetize and land clients through their shows.
Now, after years of trial and error, working with clients one-on-one, we've spent over 30,000 hours on podcast growth and monetization.
Invested over $100,000 in mentors.
Published multiple best-selling books, having sold over 40,000 copies.
Grown our own podcast into a multiple six-figure revenue channel.
And served over 285 clients during that process. And because of this, we had the opportunity to actually travel the world
have the freedom we dreamt about 6 years ago.
Doing the things that we loved most, which was helping online coaches, consultants, and business owners grow successful businesses through their podcast. Now, over the last 6 years, we had refined a process that was very unique that allowed our clients to build up an audience, to build authority within their spaces, and had a system that allowed them to attract dream clients into their business without relying on social media. This is something that most online coaches don't know even exists and aren't aware as an opportunity to help them scale their business. Again, we had stumbled on a golden opportunity.
A golden opportunity because through all that podcasting success and building niche fame on Apple and Spotify, clients were able to get incredible business results, such as David, who now lands 5-figure deals as a leadership consultant without social media entirely, with his podcast Leadership Without Losing Your Soul. Or Kyle and John, who now have a $1 million revenue pipeline of podcast leads with their show Canadian Wealth Secrets. Or Michelle, who regularly turns her listeners into $6,000 and above high-ticket coaching clients with her podcast Overwhelmed Working Woman. Now, these are just 3 out of tons and tons of examples, but we won't bore you going through all of our case studies. We'd be here till the end of the day. But here's the thing, to be honest, we didn't start with that intention in mind. Like Anthony said before, we just launched books, started helping people monetize with podcasts. The business results came along the way, and we really found out how to optimize those as we went. We really didn't realize what we were stumbling onto until connecting the dots much later, when something started happening that we just couldn't ignore.
We had accidentally unlocked a system that allowed online coaches, consultants, and experts to land dream clients, to build niche authorities without having to go viral on social media,
Without having to dance on camera,
without having to post 24/7 online,
without having to spend thousands a month.
Burning on ads.
and without having to keep up with an algorithm which only leads to burnout. So the first step within the system is recording a 15-minute solo podcast.
Now, specifically a solo podcast, because that's what positions you as the authority to your ideal prospect rather than the guest. It's also the reason why most people don't know how good podcasting is for landing clients, because they simply host this very typical standard weekly interview format that's 60 minutes, which puts the guest in the spotlight, and therefore the guest is the one that builds the authority, lands clients, and basically makes the most of the opportunity. And the 15-minute mark is the sweet spot we found to really make it irresistible for a total stranger who's on Apple and Spotify, hasn't heard of you before, to try out your show and give it a listen over a much longer interview format from a celebrity they already know.
So that's step 1, building that authority positioning through the right podcast format, a 15-minute solo podcast. Now, step 2 is actually getting your podcast visible and found on the right platform. So you upload your podcast onto Apple and Spotify, which are the main platforms dream clients, prospects are using to find podcasts on your specific topic. And we help our clients rank on page 1 for their primary keyword, meaning when their audience types in how to reduce anxiety,
Leadership skills.
how to improve sleep, how to live alcohol-free, they're able to show up at the top of the results and gain way more traction. The prospect discovers them, listens to their podcast, builds trust, which is the next phase, and then of course books a call and becomes a client. That's a unique system that allows our clients to attract dream clients into their business.
We also realize this is a completely different model to what most coaches and consultants are using to get clients. Rather than attention-based marketing, where you're trying to generate attention, stop people who weren't looking for you scrolling, we instead focused on search-based marketing, which is getting coaches found by dream prospect when they're actively looking for their solution. For example, typing in on Apple and Spotify things like how to get better sleep.
So look, you might be wondering, okay, cool, I get a 50-minute solo podcast, rank on page 1. Why now? Why is this a golden opportunity for you to take advantage of now rather than later? Well, you've likely noticed that ad costs are getting more expensive than ever. The amount of money you're having to spend every single year in order to acquire the exact same client is only going up year after year after year, which is costing you more.
On top of that, social media is getting more competitive. And although it's the thing everyone preaches as a necessity to get clients online, it's only getting harder and harder to stand out. And over time, the people that are actually influencers, full-time creators, have longer and longer to master the game of social media, making coaches and consultants who have spent all their time coaching and building expertise in their niche are more and more behind when it comes to playing the algorithm and the game of social media as a way to stay relevant and get clients.
And then to top that all off, you've likely experienced the fact that the algorithm on social media is constantly changing. You make some headway, an algorithm change occurs, and now you have to relearn the game once again. And there's this perpetual cycle of constantly having to keep up with algorithm that for our clients completely drains their batteries and doesn't light them up in how they're marketing their business.
Of course, there's the elephant in the room, which is AI is now making people trust what they see online less, especially when it's short form content, because it's very easily done by AI. It's now making it easier for just anyone and everyone to post content and harder to discern what's real and what's not. So the ability for coaches and consultants to build trust gets harder because of this.
So we have a scenario where ads are getting more expensive than ever. Social media is way more competitive than ever. Platforms keep changing their rules every 5 seconds. AI is making your dream clients way less trusting of the content they see online. And to top it all off, you now have business owners who are marketing their business in a way that doesn't feel truly aligned to them, trying to force attention online rather than position themselves as the expert, building an authority through a 15-minute solo podcast, and being able to be found by dream clients at the exact moment they're looking to solve their problem.
Now, if all of that wasn't enough as for why we're so convicted to the bottom of our hearts as why 15-minute solo podcasts are the way forward for coaches in this day and age who don't feel fully aligned with social media and want to scale in a way that best suits them, here are some cold, hard stats to hopefully seal the deal. Firstly, the number of podcast listeners is actually increasing year on year. And on top of more people listening, more people, particularly in the Western world, are becoming regular listeners too. And you would think that more and more people are starting podcasts and podcasts are getting more competitive. That's kind of the narrative. The number of times people have told us, just generally, could be friends, family, just people who are in business or not, oh, great, podcasting is a thing. Everyone's starting a podcast. Everyone has a podcast. It's actually not really what it looks like. In 2021, there were 750,000 active podcasts, but now there are less than 400,000. And although the total number of podcasts that were once active still sit on Apple and Spotify, 90% of them quit. And again, many stats show that over 90% of podcasters eventually quit their shows.
Meaning the total number of new, highly engaged podcast listeners every single year is increasing. The supply is bigger than it's ever been, and it's only growing. Whilst at the same time, the number of active, engaged podcasters posting content consistently is decreasing. Now, I'm not an economist, but I do understand the idea of supply and demand.
You understand the idea of red line goes down, blue line goes up.
Means money, baby. But in all seriousness, the demand for podcast content is only going up as more and more listeners tune in. But the actual supply of podcasters, business owners creating content in this format is going down. We've mentioned how things are getting way more competitive on social media. People are becoming way less trusting of the content they see online because of AI slop. But we have a scenario with a podcast where people can hear you, they can build trust with you. You can be seen as authority and no one's going to be questioning whether or not you're AI. But not just that, you're able to actually cut through the noise and reach your dream clients and prospects at the exact moment they're searching for your content.
So by now, hopefully you're seeing what we're trying to convey here. There has never been a better time to become the obvious expert in your niche with a 15-minute solo podcast that ranks on page 1 of Apple and Spotify.
Look, if you are an online coach, a consultant, an expert who's looking to scale your business even further, to build niche fame and true authority, and you've been considering starting a podcast, or maybe it's your first time hearing about it, but you resonate with this message, you're very aware that your marketing efforts on social media, on paid ads with cold traffic has been decreasing over time, and you're looking for a new, a more effective way to build your coaching business that feels authentic and feels aligned to you, be sure to subscribe to this channel where we share a bunch of content walking you through exactly how to accomplish that through a 15-minute solo podcast.
We'll see you on the next video.